We gather together today as the dear family and friends of Alan Savin. As we mourn his loss, must also celebrate the full, rich life he led. Death has taken our beloved Alan. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For his love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For his companionship which we shared along life's path and which still continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and his mind which brought us joy and happiness and now become a precious heritage of the Spirit. For all these and more, God, we give you our praise. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai Natan, v'nai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai Natan, God you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all it was good and enduring in his life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. A poem entitled, To My Father. A giant pine, magnificent and old, stood staunch against the sky, and all around shed beauty, grace, and power. Within its fold, birds safely reared their young. Beneath was gentle, and the cooling shade gave cheer to passers-by. Its towering arms a landmark stood, erect and unafraid, as if to say, fear naught from life's alarms. It fell one day. Where it had dauntless stood was loneliness and void. But men who passed, paid tribute, said, to know this life was good. It left its mark on me. Its work stands fast. And so it lives, such life no bonds can hold. This giant pine, magnificent and old. Psalm 15. Adonai, mi yagor ba'ohalecha, mi yishkom b'har kodshecha. Adonai, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain? A man of integrity who acts justly and speaks truth in his heart, who has no slander on his tongue, who does no evil to his friend and has no insult for his neighbor, who is contempt for the wicked but honors those who fear God, who gives his word and come what may does not retract, who does not exploit others for gain nor take bribes against the innocent. One who lives in this way shall never be shaken. A poem by Kathy Zink. Take time to talk, for you may ask of all things unknown to you. Take time to laugh, for smiles relinquish sorrow and spread happiness. Take time to think, for the realm of knowledge is never ending. Take time to see, for there is beauty in every part of the world around you. Take time to feel, for the emotions of your heart often control the reasoning of your mind. Take time to live, for each day is filled with new opportunities that will be gone tomorrow. Take time to dream, for survival is forever challenging the powers of your imagination. Take time to love, for the sharing of all these things is a true miracle of life. Adonai ro'i lo echsar, bino desha yar bitseni, amei menahot yanachaleni. Please join me now in the familiar words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. I'd now like to invite Alan's son, Randy, to come share some personal words about his father. And Susie will come.
It is my obligation, and today it is my right to share what I have learned from my father after he has had a complete, full, and varied life. As far back as I can remember, he force-fed a message to me. Education is critical to your future, and you will complete college. In my early 20s, I wanted to quit school and start working full-time at EGP, where I was at the time, and he said he would not allow me to pursue a career at the company until I finished college. He told me no one would take me seriously at the time. I was in my 20s, I had long hair, and it was a different time. And he knew I needed to mature, and a university environment was the best place to do it. My father taught me to commit to something you find engaging, something that will allow you fulfillment after you develop the talent to master it. If you don't run out of talent or give up, you may be blessed with exceptional results. In business, he encouraged me to take chances and think outside of the box. Those lessons allowed me to reach high achievement. For me, it is a combination of developing your mind and your persona and learning how to use it effectively. He knew that family and marriage are essential commitments, even when we err in making harsh judgments of the ones closest to us. Susie and I always remember that my father always showed compassion, which we need as we develop. Our father was always patient and knew that you develop over time. He trusted our excessive energy could be developed into a positive force. He was patient when we were moving in a direction that allowed us to take the easy way out and nudged us back in line, right? I finally get it. As a father and a husband, be true to the people you love and help them to be their best selves. He encouraged me not to be afraid of moving forward. We all know our relationships are impermanent. Take what you can from each engagement and use it to better the experience of the people you engage with, and that is true success.
Thank you for your beautiful personal words. The Baal Shem Tov, the Hasidic master, once observed that there are 3 ways to mourn. The first is with tears, the second is with silence, and the third is with song. When we mourn someone truly beloved, we experience all 3. Tears at first, then silence as our grief settles more deeply, and finally song as we're able to celebrate the memories we hold deep in our hearts. So today is a time for tears. As we say our final goodbyes to Alan, we'll each remember Alan in our own way. Eileen, you'll remember Alan as your beloved husband. Randy and Jill, Susie and Paul, you will all remember Alan as your devoted father. Lindy, Danielle, Elliot, and Erica will all remember Alan as a loving grandfather. Throughout his life, Alan was a caring brother and brother-in-law to Gloria and Marty of blessed memory, and Eileen's brothers, Richard of blessed memory and Harvey. And Alan was a dear uncle to his nephews, Jay, Evan, and Barry of blessed memory. Alan was born here in Cleveland on August 28, 1932, to Annette and William Savinsky. Alan later shortened his last name. Alan graduated from Cleveland Heights High School and then went on to Ohio State, where he was involved in the Phi Epsilon fraternity. On a trip home to Cleveland, a friend fixed him up on a date with Eileen. She was only 14 and a half at the time, but she wanted to go out with him because he was a college boy. They continued to date, and 3 years later, when Eileen turned 18, they were married at the Sherwin Party Center. Eileen moved down to Ohio State, and they lived on the porch of a professor's house and shared a bathroom with many other college students. Alan graduated with a business degree and became a manufacturer's rep for fenders and hubs for boat trailers. And then he invented snowmobiles on wheels. And finally, Alan went into insurance. He worked at MetLife selling life insurance and then group health insurance. And then he opened his own insurance agency, Enterprise Group Planning. Alan retired early, selling his business to his partner. And coincidentally, his son Randy happened to share offices with his father's successor. It was Alan who helped Randy get off the ground and taught him the business. Alan was extremely smart. He tried out for Jeopardy and was accepted, but at the rehearsal, he forgot to frame his answer as a question and was knocked out. But Alan continued to watch Jeopardy often and answered every question correctly. Alan had a brilliant mind. He was like a walking Google or Siri. And his family often fact-checked him, and he was always right. After Alan retired, he became Eileen's agent, and they traveled the world together on cruise ships. Alan never missed one of Eileen's talks. He was her biggest supporter. Alan would tell her, "You weren't a 10, you were an 11. He always called her gorgeous and the best wife in the whole world. In between their trips, Alan was also in the car business. Alan loved cars. He used to tease Eileen that she married him because he impressed her. When they were dating, he would pick her up in a Dodge one day and a Chrysler the next. Alan passed this love of cars on to his son Randy. When Randy and Susie were young, their dad was the equalizer. He tried to please everybody. When they would fight, their mother would yell, "Wait until your father gets home." But when he got home, he would come upstairs and say, "You're making your mother unhappy, and that makes me unhappy. You need to get along, or she wants me to come up here and punish you, and I don't want to punish you." He was always very sweet. Alan used to close the kitchen door and not let anyone in while he was making his special recipe eggs. I heard some debate yesterday about the secret ingredients, but everyone agreed they were always delicious. Randy remembers taking long walks with his dad after dinner, usually to discuss his behavior. And Susie remembers how she and her dad would walk arm in arm when they went out, pretending like she was his young trophy wife. Paul remembers when he called Alan to ask his permission to marry Susie, Alan said to Paul, "You are a lucky man, but I'm luckier." Alan was truly very proud of his children, and he adored his grandchildren. They all have fond memories of their grandparents' backyard with a giant pool and a hammock. They spent their summers there. Danielle was a bit accident-prone when she was out with her grandfather. When she was young, he took her out once to play catch with a softball, and he kept repeating, "Danielle, keep your eye on the ball. Danielle, keep your eye on the ball." And she said, "Okay, okay." And the first ball he threw gave her a black eye. Then he took her to horseback riding lessons. And once they brought her younger cousin, Elliot. So they decided that Elliot should get the smaller horse that she had been riding, and they put Danielle on a bigger horse. Well, she fell off that horse. But her grandfather made her get right back on. Danielle continued the lessons for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then she was done. Alan was so proud of when Danielle was the first grandchild to get her master's degree. Erica remembers how her grandfather pressured all the grandkids to go to Ohio State, but she told him it was too big, but she ended up there anyway. It was probably due to the toy he gave her as a child that played the Ohio State fight song. Alan used to sing it to his children and grandchildren as a lullaby every night. Alan loved to play cards and golf. He loved playing golf with Randy, Paul, and Elliot on Father's Day. Alan also loved to follow his Cleveland sports teams. Alan was a quiet man, but when he spoke, it was very witty. He would say, "If you want my opinion, ask my wife." He was even making jokes up to his final days. Alan and Eileen played a major role in the development of the Forever Children's Home, where their granddaughter Lindy lives. Judge Tim McCormick sent Susie a message yesterday. He said, "Certainly we say a prayer of thanksgiving today for the life of Alan Savin. Our community of families whose children are so vulnerable are eternally grateful for the Savin family's untiring dedication to the home. Alan did what smart men do. He recognized Eileen's mission, fully encouraged her, and then stayed out of her way. Such a good gentleman. Thank you, Alan." And so today may be a time for tears. We are saddened by the loss of Alan, but we learned much from him, especially how to care for one another. Let these tears serve to strengthen and uphold you as a family. There's a story in our tradition about a rabbi who once passed an old man planting trees. "Sir," he called, "why are you planting those trees? You'll never live to see them blossom." But the man replied, "My ancestors planted trees not for themselves but for us, that we might enjoy their shade and their fruit. I too do the same for all those who will come after me." Alan planted an orchard for each one of us, an orchard filled with devotion and love, and these will always be here for us. We must be grateful that we're able to share in Alan's life. Tomorrow there'll be fewer tears, more silence. As the Baal Shem Tov noted, it will be a time for pondering, a time for contemplation. Alan will become a greater part of our characters and our beings as we integrate the memories and the values he taught us into our own selves. But finally, there'll come a time for song. The time will come when we can celebrate Alan, when we recall all that we learned from him and how he touched each of our lives. May he rest in peace. Zecher Sadik Livracha. May the memory of Alan Savin be a blessing. Amen. We pause for a moment of silence as we each remember Alan in our own hearts. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again. From health to sickness and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see victory lies not at some high place along the way, but having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. But life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage to life everlasting. Amen. If you are able, please rise now for El Malay Rachamim, God full of compassion. El Malay Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamsei menocha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina. Im kedoshim otehorim, kezora harakia mazhirim. Et nishmat Eliyahu ben Velvel, shalach laolamo, Baal harachamim yasti retu beseter kenafav laolamim. V'yitzror bitzror hachayim et nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato, v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo v'nomar amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved Alan Savin, known in our tradition as Eliyahu ben Velvel, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. Please be seated. This concludes our service here. We'll proceed from here to Mount Olive Cemetery for burial, and following the interment, the family receiving visitors at Susie and Paul's home, 39750 Alsace Court in Solon, today until 8:30, and then again following the holiday on Sunday from 2 to 4 and 7 to 9 p.m. Thank you.